Squirting. Some people do it, some people don't, but does it really matter? I'm Dr. RENAMALIK, urologist and pelvic surgeon, and today we're going to talk about how women feel about squirting. In this video, I'm going to review a study where women describe their experience and perception of squirting. If you don't know what squirting is, it's the emission of fluid from the urethra or the P-tube during sexual arousal or orgasm that occurs in some women. So if that's a little bit confusing, let's review a little bit of female anatomy. The urethra is a tube-like structure that carries urine from the bladder outside the body. Skene's glands are these glands that are located around and underneath the urethra, which are actually homologous to a man's prostate, meaning that when the fetus is born and it's not a man or a woman, it embryologically develops either a prostate or these Skene's glands. So during sexual arousal, the theory is that the Skene's glands fill with fluid, and then during orgasm, the pelvic floor muscles contract and they put pressure on the sponge or the tissues of the urethra, which causes the fluid that's in those Skene's glands to come out. And when you talk about squirting, that fluid is usually clear or colorless, and it may be a small amount to a larger gush. It may be a mix of fluid that's sort of like dilute urine as well as fluid from the Skene's gland. And we know this because we've actually looked at some of this fluid, and what we found is that that fluid has what we call PSA phosphatase, and that's the enzyme that comes from the prostate in men and is also found in the Skene's glands in women. And actually, ejaculation versus squirting are two different things. We think that ejaculation is more of a small amount of milky fluid that's released just from the Skene's gland. And while again, there's very little research on this, we found that up to 40% of women report experiencing ejaculation. If you want to learn more about female ejaculation and squirting, make sure you check out my video on that where I talk more about it. So because there's so little research on this, and of course we know about this from mainstream media, from pornography, from all sorts of things, we don't actually know what people feel about it. So a group of researchers in Sweden decided to find out more about the women's experience. They recruited 28 women who self-identified as squirters, and they interviewed them about their experience. They found essentially three main themes that were prevalent across all the interviews. The first one was people felt amazement, pride, and a feeling of a sexual superpower. So multiple women describe this as going through sort of a sexual awakening or sexual exploration. Some of these women had actively tried to learn how to squirt through using books or workshops and found partners that were really focused on giving them that experience of squirting. And some women actually realized, in fact, that they had squirted in the past, but they had never really paid attention to it until they were really focused on it. And they also kind of felt like they were special. They felt like they were one of the few with this ability. The second thing that came out is feelings of indifference or disconnection from an actual orgasmic feeling. So some thought it was kind of like overrated, and they didn't even really notice that they did it until they realized the sheets were wet. And lastly, some people felt sensations of discomfort or shame. They thought it was messy or inconvenient, and some people didn't even know what was happening. They thought maybe they peed themselves, and so they were embarrassed about it. And all of these feelings that women had about squirting were really dependent on the individual person and how they thought about sex, how their partners felt about it, and then how within their culture or society they felt sex or squirting was really accepted. So bottom line, not everyone thinks squirting is this wonderful, amazing thing. It can range anywhere from unpleasant to actually an amazing sensation, or even both, depending on the circumstance. What you need to know is that it's completely normal and that some women do it and others don't. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're having a better or worse sexual experience. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe and share this channel with your friends. As always, remember to take care of yourself because you're worth it.